Chào mừng quý vị quay trở lại với phần 2 của chương trình Tôi về Việt Nam ngày hôm nay với phần trò chuyện cùng ông Jordan Belfort, hay thường được gọi là sói già phố Wall. Một người với cuộc đời kinh doanh đầy thăng trầm và không ít tranh cãi, nhưng không ai có thể phủ nhận về tài bán hàng và kỹ năng thuyết phục khách hàng của ông. Mời quý vị cùng tiếp tục theo dõi cuộc trò chuyện sau đây.
You had quite of a life back then. You went up to the top, you went down to the bottom. I mean, looking back at the whole journey, what were some of the biggest lessons in terms of being an entrepreneur?
Well, one of the biggest lessons is what I just said, is that, when I say you don't want to be selling things that aren't the best, I've made that mistake where I sacrificed quality. I grew so fast that I couldn't come up with any more good companies, good stocks, so the quality started to drop. So I think that's one crucial lesson, is that at the heart of all business success, it's about delivering value, learning how to make money, how to monetize value. So if you're not delivering value, just looking to get money back, it's not a sustainable strategy. So certainly that's, focus on giving value. And in business, it's very easy to monetize value once you know the rules. So focus on value. Number two, I would say is that understanding the importance of cash flow versus profits. I think a lot of people, when they're getting into business, they don't understand the importance of cash and what that really means to a business, and how being in a strong cash position allows you to make really good decisions. And also that very often in a business, especially a new business, there are very simple ways to dramatically improve your cash flow, to cut certain types of deals with suppliers and banks, and just the way you structure your business. So you could actually manage your cash flow. Certainly a very powerful lesson. And then also, I think one of the things I've learned just through all my big successes and failures is that ultimately we're defined as human beings, as business people and as people, by what we do when we're wrong. How do we handle failure? How do we handle getting knocked down? Do we let it destroy us, or do we pick ourselves back up and learn from it and grow stronger? So I think one of the great lessons for myself is that, within every failure lies a lesson, and if you're willing to embrace that lesson and grow from it and learn and work harder and try again, you could ultimately become more powerful than you ever imagined.
Yeah, but the world today, the business world today, is so much different from back in the 90s. I mean, from your opinion, do you think there are some business concepts that are still applicable today, and some of the concepts that has worked before but don't work today?
Oh, I don't think the business world is any different than it was. There's the same rules apply. If there's one thing that's different, it's just that things are moving so fast. But the actual overarching rules of business, they're no different. We see these aberrations out there, and we get the wrong idea because we'll hear about a company like a WhatsApp where they go out and they get sold for like $19 billion. They never had any revenue, and we wonder how they did that. And we hear about companies like Uber where there's mega growth around the world. But those situations are not typical. They're not typical situation. And they have massive amounts of venture capital behind them. So while they're not making any money, they're raising tens, if not, $100 million from Wall Street and bankers around the world. So, I just think it's important that people are aware, the average person is aware, that that's not really a duplicatable strategy. The average person has to be grounded in the real world. So there are things that have changed. For instance, online has become such a huge aspect of business. But the concept of what does online mean? Well, all it really means is it's a new place to get your leads. You still had to get leads in the world 20 years ago. You got to get leads today. How you monetize those leads? Well, yes, with online you can take the sales process a bit further sometimes, depending. You can almost generate some amount of money without ever speaking to someone. But even then, you're required to have your message out there, either on a video or in copy. So things aren't that much different. What's really happened is the online revolution has sped things up. It's created a paradigm shift in terms of where marketing dollars are being spent. So there are new things to be learned, like how do you navigate through social media, how do you navigate through the internet. But the rules of the game are the same, and it's about delivering value at a price, learning how to identify your target market, who's your best buyer. The rules aren't any different.
For startups and entrepreneurs in, let's say, emerging markets like Vietnam, what is the chance of getting in touch with the venture capitalists in the West?
It's minute. I don't think that's the strategy that people should be looking to actually to do in the beginning.
Okay.
In other words, if you're in Vietnam and you're looking to ultimately get to some Western bankers to raise big money, I think that there's things that have to come before that.
Okay.
So there's going to be some angel investors at a lower level that are actually getting you to a point where you have significant traction, where you have a proof of concept, where you actually have an operating business. And then ultimately, yes, you can get money from a Western banker, you know, from venture capitalists. But again, for the most part, you're going to start off in Vietnam, going to people in Vietnam who are wealthy and successful, getting your first capital there. And then once you have your strategy a bit more substantial, I think it's much smarter for people to start and get traction using money locally. There's so much money in Vietnam right now. You can find, once you know how to raise venture capital, you can get money in Vietnam.
Sure.
And then once you do and you grow the business, then you can start looking to raise bigger money.
You did a lot of trainings on the mindset, let's say, turning the intention, the ideas into reality. I mean, if people have a great idea, what should they do to turn it to reality? What are some of the first steps?
Well, the first step is just to get clear on really what you want, and just a step that most people never take. They, you know, they will set a goal. And a goal is very different than having a fully integrated vision where you can really see what the business looks like, what your life will look like in 5 years from now, and why. So to really, you know, to insinuate yourself, to get that vision so clear, because that serves as your target. And without that, it's very, very hard to see. So that's certainly one crucial aspect of getting started, is having that vision for the future. And then the second aspect is learning how to share that vision with other people, because you're going to need other people on your team. This is where the communication skills start coming into play. Whether it's going to be to hire key employees, to get people to want to buy into your vision, whether it's going to be for raising money, right? So that's certainly the next step, is communication. And the third step is the actual real-world business strategies that allow you to deliver the value and make money, versus go out there and try to deliver the value and it costs you more than you're selling it for, which is what happens with a lot of people. They don't understand how to run a business. So when I talk about manifesting success, harnessing the power of intention, what I'm really talking about is a combination of mindset and strategy, seamlessly integrated to form one cohesive strategy that runs from the outer world right to the end. It's just sort of this endless loop, and you take your ideas and put them into this loop, and they turn into reality.
For an entrepreneur, how do they look for good opportunities?
Well, you know, listen, there's lots of different you know, ways that people brainstorm and come up with great ideas. You know, listen, number one, I'm a big believer in that people should first start off and try to do something in their area of their passion, what they really enjoy, what they love, right? Sometimes that's not possible. In truth, it's not. You know, the money is not in your passion. It's somewhere else, right? You know, one of the things that I've always had success of is not so much inventing ideas, you know, inventing new markets, but taking ideas that are out there and making them more accessible, easier, more user-friendly. You know, a great example is Apple. You know, Apple didn't invent the phone. They didn't invent the music player, right? I mean, the first person that really knocked the music player out of the market was Sony with the Walkman, right? But then Apple came along with a much better, and before they had these MP3 players that were impossible to use, right? You know, there was lots of cell phones out there and so-called smartphones before Apple invented the iPhone, but they found a better way. So I think that, you know, one of the you see entrepreneurs is they're always looking at what's going on and trying to find a better way. I think that's a really great starting place, is to you know, go to your area of passion that you love, see what people are doing, and just, you know, and just sit there and try different combinations, and eventually, you know, you might hit on something, and eventually you will if you keep going at it. And then it's about running your strategies for manifesting the ideas you have.
Những chia sẻ vừa rồi của Jordan Belfort Sói già phố Wall cũng đã khép lại phần 2 của chương trình Tôi về Việt Nam trên kênh FBNC. Quý vị có thể xem lại chương trình trên website fbnc.vn hoặc là facebook.com/Tôi về Việt Nam.